Thank you. Jai. Hare Krishna devotees. Welcome to our Chaitanya Charitamrita class today. We have 10 verses to go through. So some of them are quite short. We'll just go through, I think, all the verses first, and then maybe 2 or 3 have very short purports. So we'll go through that, and then we'll speak a little. Let's first offer prayers to our previous acharyas. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Didanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sarjatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpachurubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Vishnu Vishnu Stavra Shrimati Bhakti Chaitanya Mai Bhakti Chaitanya Prabhu Padma Sevanam Shri Vrajadan Mahatmyam Pradashakam Kripanavam. So today we're reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ancha Lila, text 92 to 102. Taramadya Moksha Vansha Kaitava Paradhan Yahe Haite Krishna Bhakti Haya Antadanha. Translation: the foremost process of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Supreme, for this causes the permanent disappearance of loving service to Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The desire to merge into the personal Brahman is the subtlest type of atheism. As soon as such atheism, disguised in the dress of liberation, is encouraged, one becomes completely unable to traverse the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next verse, 193. Prashabdenha moksha abhi sandhi api niraksha iti. The prefix pra in the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam indicates that the desire for liberation is completely rejected. Purport: this is an annotation by Sridhar Swami, the great commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Bhaktira Badhaka Yadha Shubha Shubha Karma Shesha Eka Jivara Agyana Tamha Dharma. All kinds of activities, both auspicious and inauspicious, that are detrimental to the discharge of transcendental loving service to Krishna are actions of darkness, of ignorance. Purport: the poetical comparison of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda to the sun and moon is very significant. The living entities are spiritual sparks, and their constitutional position is to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord in full Krishna consciousness. So-called pious activities and other ritualistic performances, pious or impious, as well as the desire to escape from the material existence, are all considered to be coverings of these spiritual sparks. The living entities must be free from these superficious coverings and fully engage in Krishna consciousness. The purpose of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is to dispel the darkness of the soul. Before their appearance, all these superficial activities of the living entities were covering Krishna consciousness. But after the appearance of these two brothers, people's hearts are becoming cleansed, and they are again becoming situated in the real position of Krishna consciousness. Yanhara prasaditoy tamohaya nashya tamo nashya kari kare tatvara prakasha. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, this darkness of ignorance is removed and the truth is brought to light. Tad Vishnu Krishna Krishna Bhakti Prema Rupa Nama Sankirtana Shabhe Ananda Swarupa. The absolute truth is Sri Krishna, and loving devotion to Sri Krishna exhibited in pure love is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy names, which is the essence of all bliss. Surya Chandra Bahirara Tamha Shevinashe Bahir Vastu Gata Padha Adhise Prakashe. The sun and moon dissipate the darkness of the external world and thus reveal external material objects like pots and plates. Doi Bai Hridaya Kashali Andakara Doi Bhagavata Sangye Karana Shakshatkara. But these two brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart, and thus they help one meet the two kinds of Bhagavats, persons and things, in relations to the personality of Godhead. Eka Bhagavata Badha Bhagavata Shastra Ara Bhagavata Bhakta Bhakti Rasa Patra. One of the Bhagavats is the great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is the pure devotee absorbed in mellows of loving devotion. Doi Bhagavata Dvarha Diya Rasa Diya Bhakti Rasa Tanhara Hirdaya Tanra Prema Haryar Vasa. Though the actions of these two Bhagavats, through the actions of these two Bhagavats, the Lord instills the mellows of transcendental loving service into the heart of a living being, and thus the Lord, in the heart of his devotee, comes under the control of the devotee's love. Eka adbhuta samakale donhara prakasha Ara Buddha Chita Gunhara Tama Kare Nasha. The first word is that both brothers appear simultaneously, and the other is that they illuminate the innermost depths of the heart. E Chandra Surya Doya Parama Sadha Jagatera Bhaktye Gode Karila Udaya. The two, the sun and moon, are very kind to the people of the world. Thus, for the good fortune of all, they have appeared on the horizon of Bengal. The celebrated ancient capital of the Sena dynasty, which was known as Gauda Desh or Gauda, was situated in what is now the modern district of Malda. Later, this capital was transferred to the ninth and central island on the western side of the Ganges of Navadvip, which is now known as Mayapur and was then called Gaudapur. Lord Chaitanya appeared there, and Lord Nityananda came there and joined him from the district of Birbhum. They appeared on the horizon of Gauda Desha to spread the science of Krishna consciousness, and it is predicted that as the sun and moon gradually move west, the movement they began 500 years ago will come to the Western civilization by their mercy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu drive away the 5 kinds of ignorance of the conditioned souls. In the Mahabharata, Udyogha Parva, 43rd chapter, these 5 kinds of ignorance are described. They are 1. Accepting the body as the self. 2. Making material sense gratification one's standard of enjoyment. 3. Being anxious due to material identification. 4. Lamenting. And 5. Thinking that they are anything beyond the absolute truth. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya eradicate these 5 kinds of ignorance. Whatever one sees and otherwise experiences, one should know to be simply an exhibition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's energy. Everything is a manifestation of Lord Krishna. Okay, so that was a bit of a mouthful. That's our verses that we're covering today. So I just categorized it somewhat into the different parts those verses cover. The first one would be the blocks of pure Krishna bhakti. And then how Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda remove all of these blockages. Thereafter we go into the role of the 2 Bhagavats, which is extremely important, at least for us now. The book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. And how all of these culminate in the Nama Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy names. Yes, so in the first verse we had a word, Kaitava. So Kaitava means cheating religion. It's cheating. The premise of Krishna consciousness is based on loving devotional service, personalism. We have our beautiful forms of Radha and Krishna, Radha, Radhanath, and we serve them in a very personal way. And this is meant to be the practice for how it would be in the spiritual world, how we would have personal relationships with Radha and Krishna and serve them in so many different ways. But the verse here speaks about how many people desire to merge within the Brahmajyoti, within the light. And how can this be possible for practitioners of bhakti? Because if one merges in the light, it means that there is no form. That means that if one has no form, then how can there be love? In order for there to be love, there has to be the lover and the loved one. However, in the Brahma Jyoti, we just merge. How can one love the merging within this light? So it's directly against the teachings of Krishna consciousness. When we desire liberation for our own benefit, then we put our own enjoyment, not Krishna's enjoyment, forward. And then Sridhar Swami speaks of the prefix there, the pra, which basically means thrown out, including the desire for moksha. So moksha means liberation. So Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, it totally rejects this desire to merge. Because in order for us to love, then Krishna has qualities. We love Krishna's qualities. And the soul with individuality, we love him. This is the loving reciprocal relationship. Therefore, no bhakti, no devotional service is actually possible. This is against the fundamental principles of Krishna consciousness. Everything that we are built on is about personalism and loving devotional service. Imagine how dry our lives would be if all we do is try to merge, to become one with Krishna. We wouldn't have any relationships, whether with devotees or with Krishna. It wouldn't be possible, because we all would think that we are on the same level, or trying to become on the same level as Krishna himself. This is dry speculation. Everything within Krishna consciousness is so sweet, isn't it? It's extremely sweet. Our 6 loving exchanges with the devotees, our service to the deities, our chanting of Hare Krishna, begging for devotional service. Everything's so sweet. But with the absence of this sweetness, everything will become very dry. So we do not practice this. We do not practice liberation to get out of this material world just to become God or to merge with God. We practice bhakti to serve Krishna eternally as an infinitesimal spiritual being, a servant of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada very nicely had summarized it in the in Srimad Bhagavatam, where he says real liberation is not merging. Real liberation is service to Krishna, and one being freed from all material designations and fully dedicated to Krishna's service. So the impious activities obviously then covers one's heart. All activities, auspicious or inauspicious, that hinder Krishna bhakti are actions born from darkness of ignorance. So when we render pious activities, then there's some punya that comes. But whether pious or impious, Srila Prabhupada explains that this is not what we so much after. Rather, we want to render devotional service. And naturally, then, you will get benefit from this pious activities. But pious activities outside of Krishna consciousness is not recommended. We see so many people are so pious in different ways. They serve humanity. They are very into providing foodstuffs. And it's very admirable. They want to do some service to mankind. You see it all the time, right? We see this where lots of people who are brought up in a good environment where they are taught that one should serve. Then they want to serve mankind, bring world peace. And yes, we all want world peace. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, if we are doing it not connected to Krishna, then the benefit is not the same. It's not pure devotional service. Offering somebody a plate of sumptuous meal is not the same as offering Krishna prasadam. It takes the pious activity to another level completely. And this is what's being explained here. Srila Prabhupada calls such pious activities covering of the spiritual spark. How's that? Even though it's pious activities, it's covering of the spiritual spark. Our constitutional position is Jivera Swarupaya Krishnaya Nityadas. We are eternally servants of Krishna. Anything that hides the identity that we are eternally servants of Krishna, this is ignorance. The absolute truth is Krishna. Loving devotion to Him in pure love is attained through Nama Sankirtan, which is the essence of all bliss. So, when ignorance is now removed, how is ignorance removed? Ignorance is removed by the knowledge that we are receiving, that whether these activities that we render, whether it's pious or impious, it's still not on the same level of pure devotional service. And one should render everything in relation to Krishna. All service should be dovetailed. No matter what we do, there's so many different things that we have to do as householders. Of course, when we come to the level of a vanaprastha or even a sannyasi, then you're not so engaged in the material world. But as a grihastha, we're forced to engage more in the material world. We have to go to work every day. We have to get some Lakshmi and buy some things to keep the body, soul together, serve. In one capacity or the other, we're serving somebody. We're serving our child, we're serving our wife, we're serving our husbands. So we have to maintain so many different things, because although our families may be devotees, sometimes there's other elements that may be there in which we are still forced to be engaged in. For example, sometimes there may be some school activity that we don't want to go to, but we have to go to. Just for the sake of the children, for the sake of them being in this school environment. So likewise, so many different things are there which we are kind of entangled in, one way or the other. But on a higher level, we're not forced to be entangled in these different things. So there's some, reaction, karmic reaction that comes to all of these things, even when we're trying to dovetail it all in Krishna consciousness. So what Prabhupada is explaining here, that the real removal of that covering would be pure devotional service. The removal of that ignorance, that one has to dovetail everything and serve Krishna, it's pure devotional service. So first, it was established that the position that we should be in should not be trying to merge with Krishna. Then, next, it's explained of how we have a covering of ignorance and the process of removing that covering. Sorry, my phone is ringing. Okay. Our eternal occupation is to lovingly serve Krishna, and not to just do this out of duty, but out of love, prema rupa. So here we have the process. First we had the covering. Now the covering is removed by pure devotional service. The process to remove this Jai Shri Shri Radha Radhanath, Shri Giriraj Govardhan, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So the process of removing the covering is by knowledge and by Nama Sankirtan. The congregational chanting of the holy names is the most practical way of awakening one's love within the heart. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself gives the essence in Shikshashtrikam 1, Cheto Darpa Marjanam. So what is this? It is the cleansing of that mirror that is covering the heart. And it is extinguished by the fire of it extinguishes the fire of material existence and spreads the moonlight of benediction. We don't fight ignorance only by intellectual effort. We fight ignorance by the chanting of the holy names, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are accessed especially through the holy names and the chanting of the holy names with the association of the devotees. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are compared to the sun and the moon. The sun and moon appearing at the same time. Have you ever seen that happen? The sun and the moon appearing at the same time? It's difficult for us with our limited knowledge to try to understand this. Lord Chaitanya is compared to this effulgent sun, and Lord Nityananda is compared to this more effulgent night at night. It's light at night. So here, the sun and moon destroy external darkness. External darkness, right? So what does that mean, external darkness? Literally that. Externally, you would see that the sun brings light during the day, and at night, the moon brings light, right? The sun's light is hotter, and the moon's light is cooler. So like that, it can be explained that the moon's light being so much cooler is like the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Much cooler, much more easily accessible, not so difficult to obtain. The sun and moon destroy the external darkness and reveal external objects like, as it's stated here in the purport, pots and plates. Doesn't literally just mean only pots and plates, everything, objects, external things. We know this practically, that without the sunlight and the moonlight, we cannot see anything outside. Imagine if it was pitch dark. Would we be able to see? I think not, unless you have like some supersonic vision or something. We're always dependent on this external light in order for us to see externally. But then, what about internally? We are always dependent on the mercy of these two brothers in order for us to be able to see internally. But it's not so easy. It's not so easy for us to just approach Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda if we do not know them, if we do not know what is revealed to us. And then this is where the devotees play a very integral part in the growth of one's Krishna consciousness. So the devotee, by their mercy, they will be able to remove this darkness of ignorance. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam gnanivas tadva darshina. We should approach the spiritual master. Of course, spiritual master is plural. It's not just the initiating spiritual master. It's spiritual master on so many different levels. And today we're not speaking so much of the initiating spiritual master, but the spiritual master within the devotees, the Shiksha Gurus, who are helping us remove that because that ignorance, because they have already seen the light themselves. So having already recognized this knowledge, internalized this knowledge, and living this knowledge, it takes us to the next verse, where we are speaking about, or Chaitanya Charitamrita speaks about the two different kinds of Bhagavats. The book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. Now often we put all faith in the Shastra, the scripture. And of course we should have all faith in the scripture. But how would we be able to understand the scripture if it is not explained to us from a realized soul? The scripture, I remember Kadamba Kanramarj used to tell us that the Srimad Bhagavatam is there for us to read, but the Srimad Bhagavatam cannot twist your ear. Right? Because often we'll see the Srimad Bhagavatam will be sitting very beautifully in our shelves, in the bookshelf, or sometimes by the altar. And, we want to, the intention is there, we want to read. We do want to study the books. But so many different things come along, and it kind of takes precedence. And we aren't able to always just dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam. But then you have the spiritual master, you have the devotee, who very lovingly, and sometimes a little bit not so lovingly, but forces you into studying the scripture. They force you, or they even spread the message, like today, giving a class. We hear this, and it's much easier to absorb, much easier to digest. Can we ask Srimad Bhagavatam a question? Yes, we can. And now with AI, we may be able to get an answer immediately. But we'll have to read through the whole of Bhagavatam probably to find the answer to that question. Of course, Srimad Bhagavatam is mystical. Often you may just be able to open to a certain page and the answer may just be there. Having said that, it's not so easy to get a direct answer from Srimad Bhagavatam. However, from the spiritual master, from the devotee, it's much easier for you to get a direct answer like that. And as Kadamba Marj very nicely put it, sometimes when we need it, then the living Bhagavat is able to twist our ear a little bit, guide us in the right path when we're kind of going wayward. And that can only be done by the mercy of the devotee. When the devotee shows affection, care, and although we may not be able to see that it is affection and care, but actually it's the highest affection when they're trying to guide us, to bring us back to the path of pure devotional service, Krishna consciousness. Through these two Bhagavats, the Lord infuses the mellows of devotion into the heart. By such love, he becomes fully controlled. So two special means that through Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they give mercy. Through Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam and through the Bhakta Bhagavat. So with the Bhakta Bhagavat, it's not just that one knows Srimad Bhagavatam. Many can know Srimad Bhagavatam. Recently I was at a function and there was a very nice professor at the function. And he was speaking on Bhagavad Gita. He was speaking on Bhagavad Gita very nicely. And I was thinking, so nice, this is a devotee of Krishna. And in some ways he's a devotee of Krishna, I would think. But actually, the main book that they had studied at university for his master's dissertation was Srimad Bhagavatam. And he did his entire thesis on Srimad Bhagavatam. And with that, he knew the ins and outs of Srimad Bhagavatam. He knew it, probably even more than I do, or any of us. However, at the same time, it didn't bring him to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that he should surrender his life to Krishna. So he had the knowledge, but that knowledge didn't change his life. So it's very important when we are receiving from the living Bhagavat, that we are receiving from one who is living the Bhagavat, who is living it. Because if one is not practicing it, then how can they give us this knowledge? There's a nice example given of where a child asks the guru, can I have sweets? And the parent very nicely told the guru, no, tell them not to take sweets. It's not good for the child. So then this devotee, this Brahmin, he said, come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. So tomorrow came, and then the parent brought the child, and then this Brahmin, he said to the child, don't take sweets. But he couldn't understand, why. He said, take sweets. He told him, take sweets. Tell him not to take sweets. But no, he couldn't tell the child yesterday, but today he could. And then he explained, no, I cannot say it because I was taking sweets myself. I cannot give the instruction to not do something if I am doing it myself. Right? So like that, even though one may be extremely knowledgeable, if they are not practicing it, living it, and convinced of the knowledge of Scripture here, everything that's within Scripture, and living it every day, then how can they give this message? They can't spread it because they haven't realized it themselves. So just reading books without living association can become very dry or speculative. Just sentimental association without the Shastra can never become something that one needs to carry out. So together the book and the person give us the full effect of proper knowledge plus living example. One cannot go without the other. They are joint. It's like a marriage. You cannot be separated like that. When we take shelter of both Bhagavats, then Krishna becomes controlled by the devotee's love. So these two wonders, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, one wonder is that they appear simultaneously, as I've explained, right? They destroy the darkness in the cave of one's heart. And generally, the sun and moon would never appear with full strength. During the day, sometimes you would be able to see the moon, right? Not sure how many of you have noticed that. You'll be able to see the moon, but it's so faint. But at night, the moon becomes so beautiful. Why? Because during the day, the effulgence of the sun kind of outshines the beauty of the moon. But at night, when the sun is not there, then the moon becomes more beautiful and more effulgent and so forth. But you'll never see both at their optimal. At the sun with the beautiful rays shining, and the moon just as bright together. It's paradoxical. You won't be able to see it. But here, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they are both very beautifully shining simultaneously. And the light of both are seen. So this is the wonders that's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So both the sun, Gaurasundar, and the moon, Lord Nityananda, they rise together giving double mercy. Generally, you'll find one personality giving so much mercy. But here, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they are giving double mercy. And they appeared in, Navadvip. I'm just going through the verses, so that's how it systematically was. They appeared in Navadvip and the nearby areas. But you'll see that the sun and moon gradually move to the west. And Srila Prabhupada very nicely explained that Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they appeared in Navadvip, and they are the sun and moon. And as the sun and moon moves to the west, Srila Prabhupada explained that the prophecy of Lord Chaitanya, that this will move to the west. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur then instructed to his disciples that this must move to the west, the western worlds. And like that, Srila Prabhupada took it so much to heart, and he carried it to the west, this message of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And we are all part and parcel of that fulfillment of this prophecy. Then lastly, we have the 5 kinds of ignorance that is removed by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. The thinking that I am this body. The thinking that I am this body and I am not a spirit soul who's part and parcel of Krishna. Secondly, the thinking of material sense gratification is real happiness. It's very easy to get entangled in this one. Sometimes we feel that, everything's going very smoothly in our lives. And when things go smoothly, then automatically we forget that Krishna is the controller. You see it so much, not so much with devotees, but you see it in the material sense, that when things are going very nicely in the material sense, we have good jobs, high-paying jobs, good cars, so forth. We forget that, Krishna is the doer. And then we have a puncture on the road, and what do we say? Oh, Krishna. Because when something is not going so well, that's when we fall back to Krishna, right? So this ignorance of forgetting that sense gratification and this material energy is real happiness. Then thirdly, being anxious due to material identification. What does this mean? It means that I'm always worried that, this has to be done. My extended family, we have to serve them like this, and I have to be there, and I have to, so forth. Which, sometimes happens, depending on what level you are in your Krishna consciousness. I'm not saying don't care for your family. Please, don't get me wrong. But so many different things we get entangled in. And we think that actually this is our purpose. And we forget that actually our real identification is to serve Krishna and his devotees, not to be involved in too much of anxiousness to carry out things in the material world. And then the fourth one, lamenting over loss or failure. If you know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord who's always in control, then whatever happens is His mercy. Whether it's something that we wanted or we didn't want, it's His mercy. But it takes some level of surrender for us to understand this. Because when we have that puncture, then we're thinking, Krishna, I have a meeting, why did you do this to me? But actually it's Krishna's mercy. You don't know what could have happened during that time that Krishna saved you from. You could have, been stuck in some accident. You could have actually been a part of that accident. So many different things. could have happened during that time, but Krishna saved you. But instead of thinking, yes, Krishna, this is your mercy, thank you so much, my Lord. No, we're thinking, why did you put me through this difficulty, Krishna? But Krishna's plan is perfect. Krishna's plan is always perfect. How can we try to understand what is Krishna's plan? What Krishna has in store for his devotee? Everything is there with love. How can we ever think that Krishna does not do everything with affection? Krishna loves you. This is why he punctured your tire. Can we accept that? Krishna loves you. This is why, we have cancer, or we have Mother Rangadevi smiling. But she's realized, she knows Krishna loves her. But yes, this is why we broke our leg. Krishna loves you. Can we accept that so freely? No, because when we are in some sort of difficulty, automatically we start thinking, no, Krishna doesn't love us. That's why Krishna has put us into this difficult situation. But it's not like that. This is just one little puzzle piece in the whole puzzle. And Krishna has the bigger picture of the full puzzle that we do not see. So we must have faith that whatever Krishna gives us, however Krishna chooses to give it to us, my Lord, this is your mercy, I accept it wholeheartedly. And then the last one, thinking anything exists independent of the absolute truth. I went for an interview and I got a promotion. I'm the doer. I got the promotion. Yes, I'm the man, right? I'm the doer. But can't we see that actually it's Krishna's mercy? Krishna helped you to get that. Oh, but you see so many people who are not Krishna conscious, but they're getting promotions. They're the doers. Actually, it's not like that. It's an interwoven web of karma. They did some piety sometime, and like that they're reaping some rewards. But they can't understand that the Supreme Personality has actually awarded them this. And of course with Krishna, he expedites so many different things, trying to finish up our bad reactions and give us more good reactions for so many different things, for the services that you are doing in such loving ways. Like that, Krishna, he can give you anything and he can take anything. This is Krishna's mercy. And when he takes it, thank you, my Lord. Thank you, because this is your mercy. And when he gives it, then thank you, my Lord, this is your mercy. We should always be thinking that Krishna does everything perfectly. Krishna does everything perfectly. And our position must always be Jivera Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas. What is that? That I am always not this body. I am the spirit soul. I am eternally serving Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai. Jai. Are there any questions? Any comments? Any corrections? Sri Gauranga Prabhu. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for wonderful class.
Jai.
I was just thinking while you were saying that it's Krishna's mercy when we go through a bad experience, so that a realization can unfold. I was just thinking in my mind, why can't we have the realization first before we have that bad experience?
Okay, so let me ask you a question in return. If you had the realization first, would you so deeply accept the realization?
I'm not sure.
No. So when you put your finger in fire, right, you have to feel that burn. Otherwise, you put your finger in fire again and again.
I'm saying it's nice to have the realization before going through the bad experience, because sometimes it takes a whole lot of years before that realization comes to you.
Sure. But then we also have so much of covering that we have to get rid of. And how can Krishna mercifully allow that covering to get finished, all of this bad karma, and complete it in this lifetime so you can go back home at the end of this life.
Thank you. I have another question, but this is like, I'm not sure if everyone's been following some social media. There's a post that's doing its rounds on the social media that you spoke about Kaitava Dharma in the beginning of your presentation, that cheating religion. And this post that is going around is targeting ISKCON for claiming exclusive rights to the word Sanatan Dharma. And we've heard it so many times, Sanatan Dharma is actually Krishna consciousness. But this author of this post is saying that it's not a total representation of the broader aspect of Sanatan Dharma, which includes other aspects of Hinduism. What would be your comment on that?
Srila Prabhupada was criticized by many for writing Bhagavad Gita as it is, for calling it as it is. There were many other commentaries of Bhagavad Gita, and Srila Prabhupada emphatically explained that this is the purest version of Bhagavad Gita. So, you ever heard the English proverb, dogs will bark, but the caravan will still pass? So you'll get many that will want to say many things, as they did to Srila Prabhupada. I don't really know the context, I haven't read that. I try as far as possible not to be too involved in social media, especially because many posts are about me. So I try not to go much into social media. I think on Facebook, the most I would do is I'd share Radhavadanath's darshan. That's what I do. And then I'm not on it because it can really affect, the mind sometimes. But so I'm not really so much in tune with what you're referring to. But we follow our founder Acharya. And if our founder Acharya says that black is white, then black is white. Because our founder Acharya is taking us back home, back to Godhead. So sometimes with our own material covering, then we try to understand with our limited knowledge that black is not actually white. Because we've been taught this. We've been taught that this is black and this is white. But if one who has realized the truth is saying actually black and white is, the same, then we have to accept it. Because this is what our founder Acharya is giving us. So like that, I would say that we should follow what Srila Prabhupada has given us. And Srila Prabhupada has told us that Sanatan Dharma is actually, Krishna consciousness. And we should accept that like that. I don't think we should need to get into debates with others about it. For us, we know that this is the truth. We accept it as the truth. And if others want to claim that, then that's okay. Hare Krishna. But this is what Srila Prabhupada has given us, and we should stick to what our founder Acharya has given us. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Is there any other questions? We have 1 minute before Prashad. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your wonderful class, Devadeva Prabhu. I just picked up a very nice point you made about me being the doer. So, like some of us, we good at certain things in devotional service, like
like singing,
right. Or cooking for the Lord, or something. Sometimes, like we get into this, I'm the doer. So, you see, the credit don't go straight to the Supreme Lord. Credit goes to us. So, every credit goes to the Supreme Lord, not to us. So, I just want to share. Nice point.
Who gave you that talent of singing? Comes from Krishna, yeah?
It's coming from Krishna, Sri Gurudev and Prabhupada.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, any other questions, comments, corrections? Yes, Mother Ranga Devi.
Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to make one comment about the merging part. And in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it's 1854, in the purport, it's the analogy is given that the green bird merges with the green tree. And so we can understand it better, you know, that the green bird, it does not merge into the green tree, but it may look like that superficially. But the tree retains its individuality, as well as the bird, you know, retains its individuality. So it does not merge. So similarly, we are individuals, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord is, you know, an individual, so we do not merge with him. And Prabhupada says that actually to understand this, to actually accept this knowledge of merging is the height of atheism, because you want to become the Lord. You want to become a great God, basically. So, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother Rangadevi. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Just one more thing, dear devotees. Today is the appearance day of Devadeva Prabhu. So please